Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing, and our top story, smoke, fire, and fumes. That was the scene today at HH Tire and Battery located near the Sunny Isle Shopping Center. The Virgin Islands Fire Service toiled through the heat and rain in the early morning to extinguish the blaze that engulfed the long-standing business. Richard Dorsey files this report.
For those in the Scion Farm area, as well as those near Sunny Isle Shopping Center, smoke and fire was ablaze at the H&H Tire and Battery. At around 4:12 a.m., 911 emergency call center received a notification from a concerned citizen reporting that smoke was bellowing out from the H&H Tire and Battery building. The FBI Fire Service scrambled personnel to the scene where, up until this afternoon, they could be seen working tirelessly. The fire was so fierce that multiple fire trucks worked around the clock to extinguish it. The IPD blocked the Queen Mary Highway, also known as Centerline Road, from both directions to enable fire service personnel to work without interruption. Although today was a rainy day, the Virgin Islands Fire Service worked diligently in the rain to put out the fire. The source of the fire is still unknown. However, the building has been destroyed. H&H Tire and Battery was founded by Howard Hensley in 1964. According to the company's website, H&H was built on the foundation of providing quality products and outstanding customer service for a reasonable price. In addition to rerouting traffic, the Department of Education closed several schools around St. Croix in order to avoid any continuing problems from the smoke and vapors. Schools such as Ricardo Richards Elementary School, Alfredo Andrews Elementary School, John H. Woodson Junior High School, Elena Christian Junior High School, St. Croix Central High School, and St. Croix Educational Complex were suspended at around 11 o'clock this morning. Parents were able to pick up their students, while buses also dropped off students.
Richard Dorsey, News 2.
Although many agencies responded to that fire, the Virgin Islands Police Department's Glenn Drake shares the department's role in that fire. Here's more.
Upon the officers' arrival, they observed smoke coming from the garage area of the building. At that time, the units advised 911 to have the fire department travel to that location. Shortly thereafter, the firefighters arrived on the scene and were all present to attempt to extinguish the fire. However, the flames spread from the garage to the office area of the building. Traffic was rerouted this morning throughout that road by Castle Coakley and Scion Farm area this morning by the Virgin Islands Traffic Bureau. This case is presently under investigations by the Virgin Islands Fire Department.
And as mentioned earlier, smoke accumulation from that overnight fire that destroyed the HH Tire and Battery has adversely affected the air quality of a number of schools westward of the business. The following schools had announced immediate dismissals around 11 a.m. on Monday: Ricardo Richards Elementary, Alfredo Andrews, John H. Woodson Junior High, Elena Christian Junior High, St. Croix Central High School, St. Croix Educational Complex. The students were fed lunch and school buses arrived at campus between 11 to 11:30 to transport students to their regular drop-off locations. However, parents who are able to were able to begin seeing students out immediately did so. They will issue an update on the status of school. Be sure to count on News 2 for an update, or follow us on our Facebook page. We'll have the latest. The Superior Court of the Virgin Islands, St. Croix, was also closed from 12 noon today as a result of that fire and its effects from the smoke and chemicals they say have been released, which was permeating throughout the court that may have adverse and health effects on the employees as well as the general public doing business with the court. The court is scheduled to reopen for normal operations on Tuesday. Here's an update from elections. The St. Croix District Board of Elections, they will begin conducting an audit of 3 polling precincts of the 2016 general election. The polling precincts selected from the 2016 elections are Claudio Marco, Eulalie Rivera, and Florence Williams. The 2016 general elections audit will be conducted on Tuesday, November 29th at 5:30 p.m. at the St. Croix Elections Office. Now, the purpose of the audit is to ensure the accuracy of the DS200, the tabulators. Board members will verify the number of ballots casted to the number of ballots recorded on machine tips from the end of the night on Election Day. Vice Chairwoman Barbara Jackson McIntosh is inviting everyone, the media, candidates, and the public. However, remember, space is limited to view that process. On Saturday, November 26, about 12:05 a.m., a citizen called 911 emergency call center and reported a gunshot victim was down in the vicinity of Dronigan's Gata. Here's more from VIPD.
Upon the patrol unit's arrival, they came in contact with a male victim lying on the ground. The victim was transported to the Roy Lester Snyder Hospital by ambulance. The male sustained a single gunshot wound to his lower back that exited his abdominal area. He was then rushed into surgery. This case is presently under investigations by the Criminal Investigations Bureau. VIPD appreciates the community's support and continues to ask for your help on tips curbing crime here in the territory. Any person having information regarding this incident or any incidents in the territory, you can contact the Criminal Investigations Bureau on St. Thomas at 340-774-2211. You can also call 778-2211 in St. Croix, 911, or Crime Stoppers VI at 1-800-222-TEP.
The VIPD Training Academy, they held a recruit graduation at Government House in Christiansted. Be sure to tune into NEWS2 on Tuesday. We'll have highlights from that ceremony. Many prisoners are up for parole, and next week the Virgin Islands Parole Board, they will be holding hearings to consider the inmates' release. The prisoners are serving sentences for crimes ranging from accessory and embezzlement to more violent offenses like rape and murder. According to the VI Code, to be eligible for parole, a prisoner must have served at least half of his sentence or at least 15 years in the case of a life sentence. Granting parole is at the board's discretion. They also consider statements from the inmates' victims. 2/3 of the board has to approve the parole in addition to the recommendation from the Director of Corrections, a psychiatrist, or a psychologist. Well, former Cuban dictator Fidel Castro died this weekend after battling illness for years, and Cuba is in mourning. Scott McLean is in Havana with the latest.
Tyrant, dictator, revolutionary. Fidel Castro was many things to many people. The 90-year-old former Cuban president died over the weekend, leaving his country, at least officially, in mourning. At 9 a.m., a 21-gun salute honoring the former president, the first of many public displays across the island. Castro hadn't held power since 2008 when sickness forced him to transfer power to his brother Raul. But his passing undoubtedly marks the end of an important chapter in Cuban history and leaves many Cubans wondering what might change without the man who led the nation's revolution. Many Cuban exiles in Miami cheered Fidel Castro's death, so many whose families were forever separated. They hope it leads to a brighter future on the island. But in Havana, no one is celebrating. On Saturday, students at the University of Havana, where Castro once studied, chanted "I am Fidel" in honor of his death. Castro was cremated on Saturday. Mourners began paying their respects Monday morning, lining up in Havana's Revolutionary Square. Castro's ashes will stay at the Ministry of Defense until Wednesday before they're taken east to Santiago de Cuba, where his funeral and burial will take place. In Havana, I'm Scott McLean.
In other news, President-elect Donald Trump is expanding his interview list for possible positions in his cabinet. Well, today, Trump met with former CIA Director General David Petraeus. Amid speculation, he's rumored to be a contender for the Secretary of State post. The Petraeus sit-down with Trump precedes a second meeting for Mitt Romney with the president-elect tomorrow, Tuesday. Trump's potential choice for Secretary of State has been complicated by pushback from a number of Trump loyalists in the past week. Tennessee Senator Bob Corker will also meet with Trump. Corker heads the Senate Foreign Relations Committee and spoke by phone with Trump after his election victory. Keeping our eye on the economy, hundreds of Uber drivers are planning to join a national protest tomorrow, Tuesday, for higher minimum wages. Their demonstration is part of a combined effort with other hourly fast food and airport workers. The group Fight for 15 says Uber drivers in several cities will idle their cars and march with other industry workers. The Uber drivers are pushing for a $15 minimum wage. Uber has said in the past drivers in its top 20 U.S. markets actually average more than $19 an hour. But drivers complain of aggressive fare cuts and no accounting for expenses like gas, repairs, and insurance. The Fight for 15 movement has been going on since 2012. Since then, a $15 minimum wage has been approved in New York, California, and Washington, D.C. Here's a look at the stock market watch at the New York Stock Exchange. Everything down. The Dow 54, NASDAQ 30, S&P 500 down 11. Coming up on News 2, 'tis the season, the holiday season that is, what you need to know to mark on your Christmas calendar. Welcome back. The Schneider Regional Medical Center had an interruption to the air conditioning system in the hospital. Because of this interruption, certain services in the hospital have been affected. Staff members are contacting patients who were scheduled for non-emergency procedures on November 28th and 29th to reschedule those appointments during routine testing of the generator and automatic transfer switches this past weekend. One of the 5 transfer switches, they say, malfunctioned and caused the air conditioner's circulating pumps motors to burn out. Although there has been no damage to the circulating pumps, they have been shut off while the motors are being replaced. Replacement motors have been ordered and are being flown in from Puerto Rico. Repairs are expected to be completed within 48 hours. The air conditioning system at CKCI is not affected by this current situation. And here's an update from WAPA. The rotation of feeders became necessary until the island's largest generator was returned to service. Personnel at WAPA's Randolph-Harley power plant, they worked into the early morning hours of Saturday to restore electrical service to the St. Thomas-St. John district following a failure of Unit 23 and a subsequent cascading effect on 9 feeders. The unit fell offline just after 5 p.m. Friday, interrupting electrical service. WAPA's Executive Director Julio Reimer Sr. said Friday night that working with only limited capacity from 2 other generating units, Units 18 and 25, personnel were forced to engage a limited rotation schedule so as to spread out the available electricity to as many customers as possible. He added that Unit 14 is offline for repair of a problem that developed a day or 2 ago, and Unit 15 is in the process of being converted to burn propane in line with WAPA's ongoing migration to LPG as the primary fuel source. Neither of these units were available for use on Friday night. Electrical service was fully restored to the St. Thomas-St. John district at 1:12 a.m. That's an update from WAPA. Well, 'tis the season. Let's take a look at what took place today. Cyber Monday. Amazon, the online retailer, rolled out more than 75,000 sales starting Monday. The deals will continue throughout the week on a variety of products, including toys, electronics, video games, and books. Electronics, they say, tend to be big sellers on Cyber Monday, but Amazon says so far this holiday season, the most watched deal has been the mermaid tail blanket. Now, Cyber Monday is a marketing invention that was first observed in 2005 by online retailer Shop.org. Seen as an online version of Black Friday, Cyber Monday was created to allow customers to shop online from the comfort of their offices and homes. The day after Thanksgiving in the United States is traditionally considered to be the beginning of the Christmas shopping season. On this day, retailers have sales and provide massive discounts to attract customers, making it one of the busiest shopping days of the year. As a result, many people tend to stay away from stores to avoid the crowds. Well, it's a classic. We're talking about The Nutcracker, presented by Pistarckle Theater, directed by Frank Bartolucci. No Christmas will be complete without viewing. Tickets are available online at pistarckletheater.com or 340-775-7877. Now the dates are December 2nd, 9th, 10th, 16th, 17th at 7 p.m. Then matinees are at 11, and the 11th and 18th at 2 p.m. Pay As You Can show is on December 1st at 7 p.m. Here's more.
So please don't forget, grab a gift, you don't need to wrap it, and come to the theater. Buy lots and lots of wine, which will support Pistarckle and our ability to give you fabulous productions like The Nutcracker, which is opening on December 1st. This play has not been done by the theater since 2008. It's a fabulous, fabulous play with all the familiar nutcracker music that you know and love. So please come, bring your families, bring your children of all ages, and I'm sure that this event will become a holiday favorite. Thank you. See you soon.
And of course, she was talking about a wine fundraiser that's taking place before the Nutcracker. Now, the anticipated cultural holiday, the holiday party of the season, 2016 Crown Bay Holiday Fest, that will be hosted at the Crown Bay Center on Wednesday, November 30th. The festivities will begin at 8 a.m. and then the party continues until midnight. Holiday shopping at Crown Bay Center, stores, Christmas tree lighting, steel orchestras and cultural dancers, local foods, drinks, cultural arts and crafts on sale, gifts from Santa Claus, face painting, and balloon artistry, bounce houses for kids, live music by Stanley and the 10 Sleepless Nights, Spectrum Band, and Cool Sessions Brass. Vendors are welcome, but space is limited, so be sure to call them ahead of time to get your spot. We from Upstreet Inc., they're announcing the 21st annual Lighting of the Trees in Franklin D. Roosevelt St. Virgin Islands Veterans Memorial Park. Now here's a look at the schedule for the two-day event. On Sunday, December 4th, from 4 p.m. to 7, it's junior high and high school choirs, cultural dancers, youth steel orchestras, official lighting of the park. And then Monday, December 5th, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., Caribbean Chorale, Ivana Udorcan Choir, Lutheran Church Choir, Memorial Moravian Church Gospel Choir, Voices of Love, Mungo Niles Cultural Dancers, St. Thomas Heritage Dancers, Maslin Dance Company, the Bambula Dancers. Music provided all night long by Milos Kings. This year they honor attorney Tristan Moore for his contributions. Admission is free. There was some great comedy relief on St. Thomas at Pistarckle Theater in Tillett Gardens on Friday with a Turkey Day weekend. Comics like Lucas Warford, From the Buzz, Lorna Nichols, guest storytellers, musical guest Payback, Nathaniel Fuse Phillip, and DJ Black Yoda. Everything under the sun was mentioned. The holidays, WAPA, elections, and even a storytelling impromptu competition in which the audience decided Payback took that crown. Now, if you missed it, don't worry, because Butterman said he is already working towards the next show to be announced soon at Pistarckle.
You know what he do? He give up his $1 million mansion and his 3-picture movie deal and his artist traffics and his Bentley in Hollywood, and he moved back home to take care of his mother in her old age. That's a good man right there. That's a good man. That's a good man. It's amazing. And then when I saw the MasterCard Visa logo, I turned into Willy Wonka. I was like, sir, you might not be able to pay for this marijuana with my debit card. Dude was like, yeah. I was like, give me everything tonight. Give me everything tonight. I want some of this popcorn. I want these gummy bears. I want these Chiba Chews.
Some great comedy there. Be sure to check out the next one. The Department of Planning and Natural Resources, DPNR, they're announcing that due to the heavy rains, negative environmental impacts will continue to be caused by stormwater runoff. So use caution when using the coastal waters until further notification. Keep away from stormwater impacted beaches as well as areas with manholes and stormwater flooding. There may be an elevated health risk as a result of increased concentrations of bacteria. And speaking of the weather, a broad trough was producing showers and isolated thunderstorms across the waters and the islands this morning. Meanwhile, on St. Thomas, things were a bit more calm. This was the scene at the usual areas known for flooding right there, Brookman Road on St. Thomas. And as you can see, smooth driving around even the Havenside Mall shopping center area. Many were seen just doing some basic cleaning to get rid of small amounts of debris and mud. By late afternoon, the sun was up, shining brightly as ever, and business as usual. No closures or cancellations to report due to the rainfall. Be sure to stay tuned. Your News 2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.
Thank you so much, Sandy. The weather will begin to improve, especially as we head towards late tonight. But unfortunately, heavy showers still in the forecast on this Monday night. And here is why. You can clearly make out this frontal boundary here on satellite. We also have an upper level system that has brought steady heavy rain over the eastern half of the Caribbean. And that is slowly going to continue to move away from our region. As far as the steady rain, we're still going to have the chance for a few heavy showers over the area. But if you take a current look at radar, it's not much is going on at the moment. But once again, we do have the possibility for some heavy rain and showers to continue into tonight. And that's exactly what we have written down on the forecast, with heavy showers on tap and those temperatures at around 75 degrees. Now, the nice thing is, as we head towards tomorrow, the steady rain will be over. That will continue to move further off towards the east and away from our region. Therefore, behind that, it's going to be quite humid, cloudy, but a whole lot drier, with highs climbing to 86 in St. John's. We're in the mid-80s as well in St. Thomas. Lots of clouds, still quite humid around, and temperatures will be in the mid-80s out in St. Croix. An afternoon shower possible, but the nice thing is we're going to return to a more trade wind-like flow. Here's a look at what's expected if you are doing any boating. Out in the Atlantic waters, small craft operators should exercise caution. Take a look at waves. They're a little bit choppy, between 3 and 5 feet, winds out of the east between 15 and 20 knots. The Caribbean side of things a little bit calmer here, with those waves between 2 and 4 feet, winds out of the east between 10 and 15 knots. No alerts, no warnings as far as boating. The next 5 days indicate the chance for a couple of showers over the next 5 days. As I mentioned, that's due to those trade winds. That pattern will pick up here on Wednesday. We'll have spotty showers in the forecast. The average temperature of 86 expected Wednesday afternoon. We're still in the mid-80s for Thursday, a little bit warmer Friday into the day on Saturday, still mid-80 weather, with the possibility of a couple of trade wind showers. Back to you in the studio, Sandy.
Thanks for that, Larissa. Time for our news to weather picture there by Daniela Ventura of Ricardo Richards Elementary School. The exact opposite of what we've been experiencing: sunshine, clouds, and blue skies. But it's coming back slowly but surely. Just a few showers here and there, Daniela. Keep the umbrella handy. Send us your news to weather picture to the address on the screen. Be sure to include your name, age, school, and brief description of your work of art. Then tune in to see it right here on News 2. That is all for this edition. We'd like to thank you for joining us for all the latest. I'm Sandra Gumansingh. Have a wonderful evening.